So, how do you get your first super fan as an author? Someone who is going to salivate over your work, who, when they are at family dinner and they see you send out an email, they're going to say, I have to take a shit. Oh, wait, they're probably not going to say that. But go to the bathroom and look at what you send out. Someone who is going to buy every single thing that you release. How do you find that first person as an author? Because I believe that going from 0 superfans to 1 superfan is one of the hardest shifts that you will have to make in your entire career as an independent author. Because here on Right Conscious, I am creating, along with many others, a literary renaissance where we no longer have to get pimped out by publishing houses that don't even know how to sell books. We no longer have to give up our creative rights because our self-esteem is so in the gutter that all we want is just the label of being published. And I'm helping authors like you get off the ground with information like this. And so I don't care if you like and subscribe, because I would rather have you follow these principles in the video, because the more readers, the more super fans that are out there, the better it is for the entire community and the entire state of the collective consciousness out in the world. So let me hit you with a perspective shift to start off this Monday morning, which is, if you do not have a super fan right now. And what is a super fan? Well, the literary renaissance is happening on Substack.com, everyone. It's not happening on Amazon or Royal Road or anywhere else. The best writers in the world, Chuck Palahniuk, Sherman Alexie, George Saunders, I could go on and on, are all on Substack. The best independent authors in the world are all on Substack. And so over on Substack, if you get a subscriber, that doesn't mean that you have a super fan. A super fan is someone who will ride and die with you. In general, it will mean, unless they are super broke, that they will buy every single thing, whether that's a book, a t-shirt, whatever, that you release. And all you need to become a full-time author is 1,000 super fans, maybe even less. And if you do that, you will be easily making over $75,000 a year. And so we have to frame this as, you need to learn to get 1 first. And right now, if you have 0, which you most likely do, then you have all the time in the world to focus on getting 1 person. Because many writers and artists have been trained to be narcissistic, to think that they don't need to communicate with their audience and have any co-creative relationship with anyone out in the world. And I don't want to toot my own horn here, but I am most likely way further down the journey than you. But this past weekend, I did a local meetup in Tucson at the Tucson Book Festival where I met my fans. Last May, for 6 months until November, I did daily office hours on Substack. I had people show up to every single one of those. There are certain individuals out there who I have talked to personally for 70 hours. And over 6 months, they paid me a grand total of $30 for that and all my other stuff on Substack. And they were in book clubs and everything else. Last November, I did 120 20-minute calls with anybody that wanted one for free. No pitches or anything in those calls, just to get a pulse on people to help create more super fans. And so even though I have this machine of YouTube where I can release scalable content, I am still focused on this too, you guys. And so I want to go back to this premise that if you don't have any super fans, then you have all the time in the world to make 1. Because finding super fans and learning this process is almost like learning any other skill or starting a business or whatever. That the first time you do it, it's going to be really hard. And you're going to make a lot of mistakes, and there are going to be some washes and people that don't work out. But then you are going to not just learn the language and the process, but who the right type of people are to focus on. And because I want to drill this into your head, I want you to think of it this way. This is a thought experiment. Imagine if there was a super fan out there. Let's say you posted some of your work on Substack. Let's say you posted a lot of your archive on Substack so people know what you're about, and someone comes and they automatically love it. They're like, wow, this was awesome. I love your work. I love who you are and what you are doing. But imagine if I told you that that person promoting your work is the only way your work can be shared out in the world, that you can do no promotion, no algorithms are going to work for you. And the only way that you will get new fans is from that original fan. If that was the case, how would you treat them? What would you do? Would you just say, hey, thanks for the like? Would you immediately say, the universe has conspired against me and I need you to promote my work? For the love of God, please, I just want to be a writer. No, you wouldn't say that either. What you would do is become friends with them. Get to know them. Maybe start collaborating together on stuff, showing them what you are working on, telling them your dreams and all of these things. Then maybe doing a collaboration project with them or releasing one of the things that you talked about. And then what are they going to do? They're going to tell everyone that they know about it. And eventually, when that high of a trust builds between you and them, you could say, hey, do you mind helping me get my word out on Substack about my work? I'm just trying to figure it out. And most likely, they may say yes. And then more people will start to stream in. And then eventually, you won't need that person necessarily because the momentum will have already started. And so I'm not asking you or telling you to go manipulate people with the end goal of having them to go promote your work. I'm telling you that if you go make friends with people who like your work, they are not only going to be excited to talk about your work in the world, they are going to be giving you ideas. They are going to be giving you support. They are going to be that irrational friend who, when everyone is kicking you down or talking crap about you online, they'll be like, dude, don't worry about them, even if the people online are right. And so how do you find this person? I told you I would tell you how to find this person. Well, later I'm going to talk about deeper my system that's in my free Substack course. But here's the quick preview for you guys. Something easy that you can do that's not crazy is that you post your work on Substack. You probably have a backlog of poetry or short stories. And if you don't, then get your ass in gear and start writing. Start posting yourself on Substack. And when someone likes what you are doing on Substack, send them a DM. Send them a message and say, hey, thanks for the like. How are you doing? Start reaching out to anyone that is engaging in your work. Start posting on Substack notes. And anyone that likes one of your notes, send them a message. Start a conversation, because that's, especially at the start, maybe when you don't have a library of content for someone to learn about you, how this kind of begins, because people can become super fans of Right Conscious without me, because I have 800 videos. I have 500 hours plus, 500 hours of content, if not 1,000 hours. But if you aren't at that point yet, what you have is your time and the ability to do one-to-one communication. So that's how you find this initial superfan. You get active on Substack and then reach out to anyone who's interested in your work, because if they're already interested, if they hit the like button, which means that they maybe at least read some of it, that means that they are ready maybe to go deeper into your work. And so the process of making superfans is first and foremost making friends, talking to people like real humans without this end goal of superfans in mind. I didn't even have that goal when I did daily office hours of that happening. But over the course of 6 months and doing hundreds of calls, I met people from all around the world. I have at least 10 people in Melbourne, Australia, who would let me come crash at their house. I've at least met 10 plus people in the real world who I first met in my office hours. And what's crazy is that this process isn't linear. For instance, one of those people who is one of my super fans has promoted my work a ton and always talks about me, and he is a great writer. But this is actually the case for a lot of people. A couple months ago when I was having my baby, I didn't put out a registry. I didn't mention anything at all, but I had at least 10 people reach out and give me hundreds of dollars worth of stuff, random strangers online who I had just met and cultivated a relationship with. Countless others have just sent me random money on PayPal or something else and just been like, hey, thank you. And then thousands of people on Substack have just promoted my work and said thank you. And that has been because I have tried at least to cultivate good relationships with a lot of people. And it's hard to do sometimes, and it's hard to keep up on emails and DMs and all of this stuff. I get it. But if you want to be independent, that's what this is about, especially at the start. And if you aren't going to be doing it in person, which I understand, it's kind of awkward and weird to do. I was at a book festival this weekend, and I couldn't find one transformative author there. Just massive lines for like book talk authors. But you are taking this in your hands. The publishing house is this anonymous group to you, basically, who is spreading the word about your work and trying to create these fans. And that's something I noticed at this book festival, that the professional authors that I was seeing all had these long series. And as you guys know, series are how publishing houses make a ton of money, because if you can get someone roped into the series, then you can predict that they will buy again. If 10,000 people buy number one and they like it, and then you do a second and 8,000 people buy, then probably that number isn't going to drop too dramatically with books 3 to 6. They want to see what happens to the protagonist that they've invested so much time into. But we have a different path. But our persona, our conversations with people are like a series. You are building similar interests. And I have a 3-hour course that is free. I'll put the link down in the description below on how to create an audience on Substack, how to create superfans. It's much more in depth than this. This is more just talking about this first shift of how to get your first reader. So if you guys want that, the link is down below. But a couple more thoughts really fast. What's also important about this is that if you have work out there that is transformative and you are really pushing the limits with your writing, with your content, then it isn't going to be for everyone, right? You're not this mass market author. And there are certain vibes, which is odd to say. In general, there's certain spectrums of people who are going to like your work. And if you can find where they are, and if you can find that first person, then they will lead you back to the anthill, back to where your kind are at. Because we are almost like these Gnostic pilgrims and interlopers that are in this world and have no idea where our tribe is. And our goal is to go and find them. And funny enough, I've learned so much. A lot of the people who I maybe didn't think would like my work, or who I've even maybe talked crap about before or made jokes about, are actually some of the biggest fans of my work. And that's something I learned over the past 6 months. And I've thought like, wow, I've probably missed out on thousands of potential fans because of some of my rhetoric or dismissal of certain types of people. And so if you can identify this early, then this will also save you a lot of time. Because I know countless authors who are just basically flailing in the wind, looking randomly for people. And also there's something that happens when you go from 0 to 1, because you have that confidence. You're no longer a loner. You know that you can do it. And if you don't have that yet, I'm just going to say it right now. You maybe shouldn't write. What if you took a month off and figured out how to get this person? You could still do some writing, but what if you really dialed in on this and made this happen? This would change your life, as you're hearing me say. It would create so much confidence in you and create so many shortcuts in the future that if you actually want to be a writer, if you're not just saying it for fun, if you don't just have the art for art's sake mentality and have a pessimistic view and actually believe you can do this, this is the best investment of your time ever. This will save you and give you so much time in the future for more writing. Because if you just keep doing nothing and keep working your job and writing in your free time, then your energy and your time will eventually all be sucked away. Especially if you're trying to live an authentic human experience and go out and explore the world or have a family. If you are trying to have a family, be a good writer, and experience the world in any type of way, you can only really do 2 of those things at a high level, honestly. That's my opinion, but that's really how it is. And there are outliers to that rule, but there you go. And so, guys, focus on this first person. I beg of you, think of the framing I talked about earlier. Figure out ways to connect with them and then start doing that in mass, and you will be on the way to becoming a full-time author. You will see how long it takes. There are metrics. Like, for instance, right now, I get a certain number of superfans every month. And if I keep growing at that rate or keep growing in a similar way, I can see down the line, objectively, how long it will take to get to whatever goal that I want to get to. And so that's important too. It's important not to just feel like you are wandering around and there is no momentum, because at some point singularity starts to happen and people just start rolling in. And so boom, that is the word of the day. Happy Monday, everybody. Good luck on your journey today. If you aren't going to be doing this, I understand too. Focus on some good writing. Boom, and I will see you guys in the next video.